The lens is right. I'm Dave, and there's John. Here, play.
Welcome to Retired Time Productions.
So in the previous video we set up the APM wiring, and then we tested out the Minimosd by hooking it to the monitor to make sure it worked. And it did work, but the screen was really messed up and the items weren't what we really wanted. So the next stage in this process is to program the Minimosd. Now to program the Minimosd we need to use an Ftdi to USB breakout board. Now I got this board from SparkFun. So what we're going to do is plug that on where this wire is right now. So we're going to plug this onto here and then plug in a USB cable and plug it into the computer and program it. So we now have the Minimosd plugged into the Ftdi adapter. So plugging the other end of the cable into the computer. And you can see the light is now on the Minimosd. So next I'm going to run the configuration tool, and it is the 2.4 version, and I'm going to be putting on the 2.4 firmware, which is right here. Now before I can put the firmware on, I'm going to put the character set on that goes with the firmware, because it does require a different character set. But the thing is, if I install the new firmware first, I won't be able to load the character set because the newest firmware doesn't have a character set loader in it anymore. They actually stole the space for the character set loader for other features that were added to it. So we're going to load the character set first and then flash the new firmware, and everything should be okay. Going to go ahead and launch the config tool. It's actually this one right here. Now the first thing we want to do is make sure that our COM port is working. So you can select different COM ports, but I only have one, so that must be the one. So to check to see if it's working, we're going to read the OSD. Okay, so it worked. Data was downloaded, so we know that it is connected. So next let's go ahead and install the new character set. So we'll go up here to Options and Update Character Set, and it's this one right here, Minimosd _ 2.4.mcm. That's the character set. I'm going to go ahead and open it. Let's see what happens if we get a response. Oh, there we go. Now the progress bar is starting to move. And this would normally fail if you had the newest firmware loaded. So the next thing we need to do is go back to Options, and we're going to load the firmware. So this time we're going to do Update Firmware. One of the goals here is to put link quality or RSSI onto our screen too. So I'm going to be using this firmware for that too. Alright, so we want the Minimosd Extra Plain Release 2.4 R795. And you could also use this one too, 719. I think this one is still available. I don't know about R795, but I'll put a link underneath the video to what's available. So I'm going to load 795 right here. So I'm going to open that. Now again, there should be a progress bar going across, and this is a little bit faster. There we go, done downloading data. Okay, now you can see everything has changed because I've got new firmware on here. Now what you can do is there's 3 tabs up at the top here. You need to make sure those are set to your liking, and also the video mode is set to your liking, such as NTSC for me. Next thing is you can go to your panels, and these panels work by checking these boxes, and then you can move the item wherever you want on the screen. So you can just go through those and pick out which ones you want and add them to the screen in the positions you want. And once you get everything set up the way you want it, you save the current tab like this. Just click that, data saved. Okay, then we'll go to the next tab. We would configure this with whatever thing we want. We can remove things, we can add things, move them around, then save the tab again. Then go back to the first tab because we even need to save this. So let's save that too. And we'll just say yes, like that. Okay, so everything's saved. Okay, now I just want to add that once you save everything to the Minimosd, you can actually save it as an OSD file to your computer to back it up in case you want to do another board or you lose your configuration. So you can go here and do Save OSD File, and then you can save it. For example, I saved this one earlier after I set it up. And then you just click Save after you give it a file name. Okay, so that being said, you can also load one. So let's go ahead and open an OSD file. I'm going to use the configuration that I used on my Skywalker because that worked good, and I'm just going to use it again. So I'm going to click on there, Open, and it filled in everything. It even filled in my min-max values for my RSSI. Now, if you're using Ezuhf like me, I have a separate video on how to find out what these min-max values are and to set up link quality for your Ezuhf receivers. I chose link quality because link quality actually goes from 0 to 100%, and RSSI, for some strange reason on the Ezuhf, is backwards or inverted, where the max value is 0 and the minimum value is 100%, so it's backwards. So plus I like link quality better for seeing what's going on with the signal. Okay, so now I've just loaded my previous parameters into the configuration tool, but I haven't saved them yet, so I have to go through the process of saving each tab again. So I'm going to check, make sure NTSC is on, and then I'm going to go ahead and save each tab. So I'm saving current tab, just going through the same process again, saving each screen. Now they're all saved. Everything should be good. And if I wanted to move something around, I could. Say I wanted to make room down here for video voltage for the camera, I could move one of these objects. So when you click on it, it highlights it up here. See, it says battery A. And let's see what this is. This is battery percent. Say I wanted to get rid of battery percent. I could take that off like this. Just uncheck it. And then I could move this one. Let's say I put that right here, like that, and then I can take the amps, and let's move the amps over here, like that, and then I can just save current tab, like that. Now the next thing we do is just go ahead and we can close this. Just close the configuration tool, and then we can go ahead and unplug the USB cable. So now let's go ahead and test it and see how it works. I've got the Minimosd connected back up to the APM, and it's running to my monitor over here. So let's see what we have. So here is the screen right here, and as you can see, everything's up on the screen. And the way I've got everything arranged, the battery voltage now for the video, which is coming from the camera, by the way, it's coming from the Foxy or Aero camera, not from the APM. So the battery voltage for the video is right here, and the battery voltage for the flight battery is up here, and the current for the flight battery is over here. So I made a little hole here so the camera could put its OSD information along with the Minimosd information. So next what we need to do is configure a receiver for PPM so that we can hook it up here to channel 1 on the APM. I'm going to be using the Ezuhf. Okay, so this video is already getting kind of long, so what I want to do is refer you to another video where I talk about setting up the Ezuhf for the APM. And this is the link right up here. And I've got the video, or at least one frame of the video, up on the screen right here so I can give you the gist of it in case you don't want to watch it. But what it is, you go ahead and set channel 8 on your Ezuhf, the PPM 8, to link. That's link quality. And then you set the servo output to PPM muxt right here. And then you go down and click Upload Settings to Receiver. Now for the Ezuhf 4-channel light, I'm going to have a setup like this. And I'm going to put the RSSI, or link quality rather, on 8, same as I did before with the 8-channel version. But I'm going to put the outputs, I'm going to set this just to nothing here, and I'm setting channel 3 for 9 and channel 4 for 10, which is going to be for my pan tilt. So in other words, I'll hook the pan tilt wires directly to the Ezuhf receiver rather than going through the APM. So I'm going to put pan and tilt on 9 and 10. So all that's set. Now I'm just going to go ahead and update my settings. And they're successful. So that's all I need to do there. On the first page here, I've got everything set up like this. I just read the settings, didn't do anything special there. And here I've got it in 12 channel mode right there. So nothing special other than putting it in 12 channel mode. So that's it. Everything is set up and ready to go. And after that's done, then we can go ahead and connect it to the APM. So here's my Ezuhf receiver connected by just one servo cable to the APM right here. The jumper is on the bus right here. And this goes from channel 1 to channel 1 for PPM. And I also have the servos connected up right here, going directly to the Ezuhf. And here is my Tyrannus radio in PPM mode and 12 channels set up right there. Now if I move the dial right here, you can see the pan tilt panning. And if I move the slider, you can see that it tilts right here. So that's all connected up, and that's represented on the schematic right here. Although these wires now go to 2 and 3. Excuse me, I think it's 3 and 4. 3 and 4. Yeah, 2 is not being used, but 3 and 4 on my Ezuhf 4-channel light, because this is a 8-channel right here. I've got a UBEC right here providing 5 volts to the bus, and it's soldered onto the power module right here. And that's represented on the schematic right here, where it's soldered onto the power module, goes around, and then feeds the output rail for the servos right here on the APM. Now, it also is providing voltage to the pan tilt servos right here. What I did was I just plugged in a splitter, pulling off the voltage and ground, going over here, and I took the pins out of these servo plugs and put them just the voltage and ground in here where I can plug it into the servo splitter. So that gives me my voltage and ground for my pan tilt right over here. And that's represented right here where this comes up, and these arrows point that direction, and then combine with these wires over here to go to the pan tilt. And I've updated the schematic to reflect that this jumper must be removed to use the external compass on the HK Pilot. Just like the last video, I'll go ahead and put a link to this schematic under the video. So in the next video we'll start working on the software and configuration for the APM, and I'll put a link under this video to the more in-depth video on the Ezuhf setup if you need that. I hope this has been helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not subscribed. You can give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time.
Here, play.